Muted. Shalom, family. Good to see you. I hope you're all doing well. Well, there's a lot of people talking about the strange behavior of Erika Kirk. Now, I have found other things out since the last time we spoke on this topic. Like, Charlie was never taken by ambulance, and a lot of people were disturbed by the fact that there was no police or even people on alert just in case something happened. And I just found out they didn't take him to the closest hospital. They took him to a hospital that was a little further away. There was a hospital actually not far from that university, but they didn't take him there. So, and I'm like, okay, yeah, because we saw them put him in the back of an SUV. But I just found out this morning, listening to a few videos of different people, but yeah, they said he didn't even go to the closest hospital. So, I mean, this whole thing is strange, but hey, he was the savior of white people, so it's up to y'all to piece together what's going on. And if there is something shady about Erica, all of you should be able to investigate and find out what's going on. Now, I also heard Erica and Charlie really wasn't getting along all that great. People always know how to hold hands and put on a big old smile, but it's not what you think it is. Now, I heard the days after Charlie was unalive that the neighbors were saying their arguments were so loud, people could hear them. If you were on the street where they lived, you could hear them all the way outside. And when they would argue inside the house, that's how loud it would get. So I don't know, but I can't imagine it wouldn't be easy living with Charlie Kirk, that's for sure. So anyway, a lot of people have been observing how giddy she's been acting the days after Charlie has been unalived. And and it just seems like, she's been doing an awful lot of smiling. And a lot of people are pointing out her behavior is very inconsistent to a widow that just lost her husband. And they're also taking notes of how she dabs her eye and there's no tears coming out. And then she dabs her eye and they are also saying she's dabbing only one eye over and over. And usually when you cry out of both eyes, right? Well, she's just dabbing one eye and there's no tear coming out of that one eye. So a lot of people are noticing something ain't right. And even the days after the funeral, she was doing podcasts and she's sitting up there smiling and just acting all casual. But, you know, she's doing all these things. But I noticed nobody is calling for her to be investigated. Y'all are just on videos whining about what she's acting like. But I haven't heard any of you on any platform calling for her to be investigated. So that's on y'all. Me, I'm just an observer. I wasn't down with Charlie like that. But I also noticed, just like 2 days after he was unalive, she did that 17-minute speech, and I did a live stream on that, and it was just weird. It was just weird. And what I think she's doing is she is acting, but her acting does not come off as natural. And I think that's where she's running into problems. Her acting is not natural. And then what I don't also get is the whispering she constantly do, because she did it in the speech and she also did it at the funeral. Oh, I don't get it. I don't get why she keeps doing it, but she keeps doing that. And it's just weird. Most people, because, I lost both of my parents back to back. They died 2 years apart. Well, a little under 2 years apart. And I remember because I was the main one in my family planning their funeral, getting the clothing they were gonna wear in the coffin and, talking to the pastors and the deacons at the church and everything. So, it's a lot of work, and the last thing you wanna do is get in front of people and talk. You know, I remember my relatives when they came up from Georgia, they had to literally drag me out of the house, and we went to a restaurant nearby. And I really didn't wanna go, but they kinda, "Come on, you just need to get away from this." And they were right, I did. I needed to get away from everything that I was doing. So, we went to the restaurant, and to be honest with you, I was quiet. And I was quiet because I was worn out, running to the funeral home, running to the church, running over, just getting things in order, getting her outfit. I got her everything brand new. So, there was a place nearby that specialized in clothing for funerals. So I got her everything, the gown, the slippers, everything, her undergarment, and just running around. I did not feel like being bothered with nobody, y'all. I just wanted some quiet downtime. And I know some of y'all had to deal with the same thing, dealing with, your siblings may have passed, your parents may have passed. When you're going through that grief, you don't really want to be bothered with a lot of people. At least I didn't. It was emotionally draining for me going through that. And then the good part is they already paid for their plots. I didn't have to worry about that part. Their plots were already paid for. So, but just all the arrangements. So when I see her standing there giving a speech and smiling and all that stuff, I don't get it. I don't get it. I just never seen anybody grieve like that before. And it's weird. So let me go ahead and share my screen so you can hear other people's reactions. And they're like, something ain't right here. Ozzy Edwards, thank you for the super chat. It's obvious she was the brains behind Charlie, which isn't saying much. Yeah. And it seems like, she is now the CEO of Turning Point USA. And I don't know about y'all, but she seemed like she wants to take it in a whole different direction. And I was like, okay, so you're not going to follow the path of Charlie. You're going to kind of be different. And I was like, well, how much did you want to keep this the same then? I don't know. It's just weird, the whole thing. All right, so let me share my screen so you can hear what other people are saying. But again, if y'all think this is weird, why is no one demanding that she gets investigated? Because all y'all doing is whining on videos. You're not demanding an investigation. Is she just, is it the blonde hair, blue eyed thing? That's why you're not going to go that extra step and demand an investigation? That probably is what it is. Because, y'all are all down with the color thing. So let's get started, y'all.
So how have we gone from this?
I forgive him.
Which was the 21st of September, and now 7 days later, we get this.
Nothing is changing, but I want to preface we're not awkward. We're not like weird. We're not crid. We're not going to be tweeting as it gets in. That's tone deaf and really disturbing. And anyone who does that's like morbidly.
Hey, we're gonna be doing about 5 more episodes a week now. So just tell the team and make sure that happens.
3 hours of this, 2 more hours of podcasting.
There is just something that just doesn't feel right. It feels wrong. It feels off. And I am trying so hard not to over speculate, but it's hard when stuff like this is being put out to us. It's just not normal. It doesn't feel natural. I feel like we're watching a performance. It's almost like we're watching a movie unfold right in front of our eyes. And it's things like this that make me think that Charlie Kirk's assassination is so much bigger than we could ever imagine.
So Charlie Kirk married a woman who was 5 years older than him. Erika Kirk is going to be 37 this fall. They got married in 2021, so unfortunately they didn't have a chance to be married for a very long time, but you can do the math there. She was in her 30s when he married her, and he was still in his 20s. Now, I know to like a normal person, none of this matters and it shouldn't matter, but I'm going somewhere with this, so like stick with me. Apparently, she double majored in college. She majored in political science and international relations. She played collegiate level basketball. She was Miss Arizona USA and competed for Miss USA. She's worked as an actress, a model, a casting director. She has a Juris Master's degree and doctorate in Christian leadership. Apparently, when she was still in high school, she started a nonprofit, and she's currently the CEO of Proclaim Streetwear and Bible in 365, which I just signed up for. You should sign up for too. It's reading the Bible in a year. Now, I don't know about you, but when I look at that resume, it actually seems bigger and more accomplished than your average woman. And in fact, the story goes that when Charlie met her, he was considering her for a position at Turning Point, but he was so taken with her that he basically said, I can't hire you because I want to date you. But he was considering hiring her, this woman. So all of this to say that all of these people who are trying to paint Charlie Kirk as some kind of backwards Neanderthal who believes that women are incompetent and can only stay home and raise babies and make babies, which is the most important job in the world, by the way, and that they need to be these mousy creatures under the boots of their husbands. Well, not only does that not coincide with the words that actually came out of his mouth, but it also doesn't coincide with the way that he seemed to have lived his life and the woman that he chose to make a wife. Now, did Charlie Kirk believe in biblical gender roles? I don't want to speak for him, but I listened to a lot of him. Yeah, it seems like he did. I do, by the way, as well. Most Christians do. Did he think that maybe young women were better served not going to college right after high school? It seems like he did. I also agree. By the way, he also thought college was a scam for both genders. Did he also fall in love with and marry a Christian woman who seems to have had a whole bunch of accomplishments and degrees and also gasp, make her own money away from him? It kind of seems like he did. Okay, I don't know the specifics of their relationship or what went on behind closed doors. I'm just pointing to the truth here, the resume. And so the people who are trying to paint him as something, well, it doesn't really relate to what he actually was and how he lived his life. And again, the woman that he chose for a wife. So a lot of y'all sound really ignorant. And I just think you need to take a step back and just stop. Just go listen to his podcast, open your Bible and stop. I gave assurance to people that Turning Point USA is continuing, and it is. I mean, we are so blessed to have more work than we even could ever dream of. I mean, it's beautiful, and Turning Point Action, full steam ahead. I was there from the beginning of all of it.
I'm not one to kill a conspiracy theory, but I did want to put my 2 cents in on Erika Kirk taking over as CEO at Turning Point USA. My first husband passed away when he was 32 years old, unexpectedly. This was a very long time ago for me. But I want to say a couple things. One, if you lose somebody that close to you, you are grieving around the clock. So I was grieving at night when everybody else is sleeping, crying my eyes out for days, months, weeks, etc. So we don't see Erika around the clock. We don't know how she's grieving. We're just seeing her in these very public appearances. But I did have like this overwhelming feeling to like have my husband's legacy live on. There was something inside of me that I was like, I just wanted everything about him to live on. I gave a speech at his funeral that was like about his essence and, you know, all of the things about him. So I can actually see if my husband owned something like Turning Point USA and it was like this groundbreaking thing that was like helping college students across the country, I could see her having this desire. She doesn't even know where it comes from, but it's like this inside desire and urge that now your number one mission is to make sure that his legacy continues. That is very real. I felt that. My number one thing was making sure that my husband's legacy and his name and everything about him was like waving a flag in the sky. That was like my number one mission. So between grieving, it was like defending what he wanted at all costs became my new mission. Like I knew he would want this, even when it came to like the funeral and anything that I was like, I felt like I was his advocate that he wasn't here anymore since I was the closest person to him when he was here. And I can also say that when someone dies young like that, sorry, I'm trying to feed my baby here. When someone dies young like that, there is like a weird energy. One, it freaks everybody out. People start doing weird things. As we can see, it's just people aren't supposed to die young like that. So when they do, everybody goes a little bit crazy and the vulture starts circling and negative characters start coming out. And I think she probably wants to protect his legacy and she knows his vision, and who better to do that than her. So I get that if you haven't been in her position, it does seem a little weird. And I'm not speaking on any of her other behavior or anything like that, but just the CEO thing, it's not that far off that she would want to be in charge of that.
Yeah, so Republicans in Israel might have shot themselves in the foot with this Charlie Kirk thing, because Erika Kirk's story is coming out and the Republicans are freaking out over it. So if you don't know what's going on, Charlie Kirk's wife won Miss Arizona, a beauty pageant, when she was, I think, 17. She had never contested before. Someone just told her, hey, you could be a beauty pageant. And guess what company she worked for? Guess who she worked for as in the beauty pageant? Donald Trump. Right after she won the beauty pageant, she ended up creating a Christian ministry that works with children and went to go work with the Romanian government. So now you have all these conservatives on TikTok and on Twitter asking, what kind of power does a 17-year-old have to create a Christian ministry to go work with the Romanian government, to go for orphans? Now, here's a funny thing. At the same time that her ministry was in Romania working with the Romanian government, Romania went through a massive case of children missing. So the Romanian government kicked her, like her Christian organization that was in Romania to help Christian babies. The Romanian government told her to get the fuck out the country because something just doesn't add up. Because her ministry is linked with too many children going missing. So now, I swear, go on TikTok, go on Twitter right now, search Erika Kirk. That's all you'll see. Everyone is talking about how the fuck she was 17. She won a beauty pageant under Trump's agency. And then right after she won the beauty pageant, she went to Romania, started working with children. Children started going missing, and the Romanian government kicked her out.
So how have we gone from this?
I forgive him.
Which was the 21st of September, and now 7 days later, we get this.
Nothing is changing, but I want to preface, we're not awkward. We're not like weird.
Cringe.
We're not cringe. We're not going to be tweeting as if it's him. That's tone deaf and really disturbing. And anyone who does that's like morbidly off.
Hey, we're going to be doing about 5 more episodes a week now. So just tell the team and make sure that happens.
3 hours of this, 2 more hours of podcast.
There is just something that just doesn't feel right. It feels wrong. It feels off. And I am trying so hard not to over speculate, but it's hard when stuff like this is being put out to us. It's just not normal. It doesn't feel natural. I feel like we're watching a performance. It's almost like we're watching a movie unfold right in front of our eyes. And it's things like this that make me think that Charlie Kirk's assassination is so much bigger than we could ever imagine.
A lot of people are talking about how Erika Kirk is way too happy and she's way too positive about all of this, but I have a feeling this is how she views it. She probably sees Charlie's death as a terrible tragedy, but she also believes in God. So she believes in heaven, so she knows that one day she will see him again. So in her mind, they're probably just long distance right now. And according to the Bible, heaven is 20 times better than earth. So she just kind of has to finish out her duties, keep herself distracted and get through life, raise her children to the best of her ability, make sure that they one day will meet their dad again. But right now, she's probably just thinking like she's in a long-distance relationship.
If Erika Kirk really wanted to keep Charlie Kirk's memory alive, she would be asking the same questions he was asking right before his death, but she's not. She changed the subject completely. About 6 weeks before Charlie Kirk's death, he started to go pretty hard in his questioning of Israel and why we're not putting America first and how we need to focus more on our country. And she's not continuing that legacy. She's not continuing that conversation, but she's talking as if she is. She's talking as if I'm going to continue my husband's work. Girl, you're not continuing his work. You are whiting out what he did and changing the entire conversation into something different. And then putting a bunch of Jewish people on his show to run it. We see you, Erika. They say everybody grieves differently. Why would you have fireworks at someone's funeral? Okay, let's say that she did, and she was really grieving. But to keep his memory alive, you take over his show and completely change what he was talking about? That's an enemy.
I'm just gonna say it, Erika Kirk's behavior is unsettling as fuck. It's not conveying real grief, it's conveying performance. It's giving uncanny valley. Like, this woman came out on stage to pyrotechnics, timing her body language and her crying to the music. Then she gives a speech that comes off as more of a piece of performance art than it does as an expression of real grief. And when you look at that woman's face, there is not a single tear streaming down that woman's face. There is not a single smudge of makeup out of place. She's making it look like she's crying, but she's not really crying. So yeah, the whole thing is unsettling as fuck.
At the risk of making some folks a little bit angry, I wanted to extend a little bit from my last post and talk about the phenomenon that was the Charlie Kirk Memorial and Erika Kirk's speech regarding her late husband, and the spectacle of it, the fireworks, and what all that meant from a narcissistic perspective. And if there's anything to learn here from folks that are trying to spot what a narcissist looks like, and some of that evidence. And I think a lot of you have seen it. I know that I've seen quite a few TikToks that got stuck on my algorithm for a while. And one person after the next was saying, something feels off about all of this. It's just not right. And, she's, the way she's acting, there's no tears. It looks performative, all those types of things, which are kind of harsh. She's obviously in, a very difficult situation, but at that same time, it is very, very curious how this could be happening. And one thing that I will step forward and say is that she is showing all the signs of narcissism. Narcissists really don't cry in an authentic way, except for times that they feel abused, they're getting some kind of personal loss. From what I read, that's when they can express real emotions, and with crying. But they can perform if it serves their what they want to manipulate, what they want to create, or what ends that they can get from that. And this is kind of what's being seen here. You would think that there would be a connection with your husband and him dying, and that would create some very harsh, authentic feelings, but they're really not there. It just shows to me the capacity of a narcissist and how different they are. There is a good example here, something to look out for when you see a narcissist in a situation where they should be distraught, when crying would be expected. This is one way to spot that particular situation. With Erika Kirk, she had other things that look a little bit narcissistic. Beauty pageant winner in Arizona. I think a PhD and a couple of other degrees. I mean, not want to knock all that, but if you look at it as a full package, and you look at kind of the reactions to her husband's death, there is a profile showing up here that is something that can be, observed and learned from. So something that I've been talking about a lot on my account is not being trapped, not finding yourself particularly married to a narcissist. So you've got to look. They can be very deceptive. They can be very look very welcoming, and then turn out to be something very different. So everything that you can do to know what you're dealing with, the better. And that's part of the reason I've done this fairly risky post, because I think there is a good example here. Some people might disagree with me, but a good example of kind of how they operate. And when it doesn't feel right, that's probably something you should avoid.
I am so over Erika Kirk, it's not even funny. And I know you knew exactly what I was getting at. Honestly, my first apprehension with her was during this IG carousel post where she's like posing on his dead body, like super distasteful, weird. And if that wasn't bad enough, this cringy speech during his memorial, man, I mean, like you can tell she was a former pageant queen, and this little moment right here, come on. The forgiveness of the shooter, like, what? Like, what is that? That is so rehearsed. And now, of course, she's the CEO of Turning Point, and she gets to host his podcast and laugh and smile. How dare I be so cynical to not think that this is the natural expression of a woman who just saw her 31-year-old husband get unalived in front of thousands of people in the most horrific way just a few weeks ago. I understand everybody grieves differently, but this looks like a hostile takeover. Changed my mind.
Licensed therapist of over 2 decades, and I have worked with hundreds, if not thousands, of people who have been widowed. And I can tell you firsthand that grief looks all kinds of different ways. However, I am not going to diagnose, I am not going to speculate, but I can tell you there is something that is very off about Charlie Kirk's wife, Erika. From the multiple placements of MAGA gear to the full face of makeup and manicure and everything else that most people wouldn't dream of doing within a week or a month of their spouse passing, to her very calculated language when speaking, to the filming of the very deeply personal experiences that one goes through after their spouse has passed away. I can honestly say I have never, ever seen anything like that before. And it is odd.
Nobody can tell me that this is a grieving widow.
So how have we gone from this?
I forgive him.
Which was the 21st of September, and now 7 days later, we get this.
Nothing is changing, but I want to preface, we're not awkward. We're not like weird. We're in a crib. We're not going to be tweeting as if it's him. That's tone deaf and really disturbing. And anyone who does that's like morbidly.
Hey, we're gonna be doing about 5 more episodes a week now. So just tell the team and make sure that happens.
3 hours of this, 2 more hours of podcasting.
There is just something that just doesn't feel right. It feels wrong. It feels off. And I'm trying so hard not to over speculate, but it's hard when stuff like this is being put out to us. It's just not normal. It doesn't feel natural. I feel like we're watching a performance. It's almost like we're watching a movie unfold right in front of our eyes. And it's things like this that make me think that Charlie Kirk's assassination is so much bigger than we could ever imagine.
I agreed to come on because this is not going to be a forever thing of me being on hosting the show.
Was because I gave assurance to people that Turning Point USA is continuing, and it is. I mean, we are so blessed to have more work than we even could ever dream of. I mean, it's beautiful, and Turning Point Action, full steam ahead, so powerful. All of the other programs within Turning Point USA, everyone knows what they're doing. Everyone has their marching orders, and the show, when we talked about this, became very intimate for me because I was there from the beginning of all of it. And I'll never forget 2020 when literally the world stood still.
I could let play what, but I just want to make that is a grieving widow whose husband was buried 5 days ago. She's now the CEO of Turning Point USA, and she now hosts the Charlie Kirk show. She's now the host of the podcast. This is the beauty queen who at 17 was sent to Romania. By the way, the video I made talking about her in Romania, that it got over 3.8 million views. TikTok has taken it down. Well, they claim it's in review. Review is supposed to last 12 hours. It's been 2 days. We're still waiting for the 12-hour review. But grieving widow.
Hi guys, welcome back again to the YouTube channel. It's so good to have you. Thank you so much for clicking when you saw this video. So a few days ago, everybody was all about, praising Charlie Kirk and of course Erika, his wife, how she comported herself, how she's the most strongest woman on earth right now, and just so many things that they were all saying on the internet just few days ago they were, and now the same people who were praising her are now calling her out, so many of them saying that they are suspecting her real identity is still not known, and they do not feel that she is actually mourning her husband. Well, I have clips for you guys. I'm just going to let them roll. Then I'll come back with the commentary. Please do well to let me know what you all think in the comment section. Consider subscribing if you have not already. And don't forget to give the
4-year-old son suddenly in April. Sometimes I felt so numb. It's our body protecting itself from extreme grief. I couldn't imagine having the world watch me during that time. The pain is unbearable. Yeah, I've seen that. I think we just need to be a lot more gracious. It's an unimaginable thing to go through. And it means if we can't imagine it, then we have no idea how we would react. Nobody is supposed to be able to log online and see the person that they love being shot in the neck, the person that is the father of their children being assassinated and murdered, and going through those emotions and still having to get up and be a parent. And I imagine if it was me, I would probably turn into a robot. I'm thinking about how this impacted me, and I'm not his wife. He's not the father of my children, and I could barely even get out of bed. So I can't imagine what she's going through. So I think that's very fair for you to say that, and I appreciate you saying that. Have
you guys seen this little post up here? There's been some crazy rumors going on recently about Erika Kirk. And here's the thing. So this one in particular is from Reddit. They had mentioned that somebody had said that she had been married before Charlie. All of the information about her was off the internet because they didn't want people to know. And then it goes on to talk about how her life is completely different than what her and Charlie stood for, and how could this be? She didn't get married until she was 31 or 32 and married Charlie, who was 5 years younger. Everything she preaches and her husband preached is opposite of this life. She also had multiple degrees. So I had a thought on all of this because everybody keeps saying that she doesn't seem like she's mourning. There's terrible things being said. People are saying that she caused this whole thing. She's the backstabber, all this crazy stuff. And it's because she came out poised. She was not falling apart in front of the whole world. But the thing is, number one, she was trained as a speaker. She was in a Miss America pageant. She was Miss Arizona. I think went on for more than that as well. She was also in a reality TV show. She has multiple degrees. She is very smart, knowledgeable. She was a public speaker. She spoke at multiple conferences, multiple churches, multiple things. Although her and Charlie were only married for 4 years, they were together for a few years before that. Anyhow, all that to say, people are being mean and downright ridiculous. First of all, I actually find this all funny that people are even disputing it, because I actually got married myself at age 32 for the first time as a Christian woman who believed in waiting until marriage. And also, I didn't have my first kids until I was the same age that she had her first two kids, 33 and 35. And also, I already had a career. I already had 2 degrees and was working on a third. There's a lot of stuff that I was doing in my life purposefully while I was waiting for what God had intended for me. And here's why I believe that it took me so long to find what God wanted for me. First of all, I grew up in a small town. Second of all, the hookup culture that is being pushed so hard also made it very difficult for me to find somebody that I could trust, and that was also going the same direction I was in life. And that is likely some of the problems that Erika found as well. She was a very driven person. She needed somebody who could match her energy, who could match her driven lifestyle and what she wanted for her life. I'm sick and tired of seeing Christians out here, or people claiming to be Christians, attacking the Kirks, attacking a widow who lost her husband, who her husband was a godly man. People are just like totally attacking them because of what side of politics they land on. Has nothing to do with who their heart is and who they stood for. I mean, it does have with that as well, but not who they followed was Jesus Christ. That was the most important thing. And I am ashamed to see the Christians that are just out here slandering them and questioning their motives, questioning Erika's motives. I dare you to go and listen to her podcast. It's called Midweek Rise Up. It starts in 2019. I believe you can go back and watch it or listen to it from. There's also multiple events that are recorded that she spoke at before she was married to Charlie. She is a very gifted speaker. She's amazing. And I think a lot of people might just be jealous of the fact that she is so gifted. I dare say I could see her becoming a future president of the United States of America. Whatever. But I'm saying people need to quit dissing and quit just because it's not the lifestyle you chose or the life that you lived, or it wouldn't be the way that you would deal with a loss, doesn't mean that she's not a Christian, doesn't mean that she caused her husband to die. I'm very irritated at our current cultural situation online. In fact, I unfriended somebody who was close to my family for a very long time because their views have swiftly switched the other direction in such a negative way that I cannot even stand it anymore, especially because the lifestyle they're living does not validate the things that they're standing for. And I can't do that. Don't be a hypocrite. That's what I want to say. Anyhow, everybody needs to be kind, be loving, and show Jesus before you speak about him, and seek Jesus before you seek anything else. That's it.
Erika Kirk is acting so weird. She is just acting bonkers for somebody who just lost her husband. She's not even grieving. She's so put together and she's doing the show and she's just moved on. There's something super fishy about this. I have seen this going all over the place. So many people are up in arms, even big supporters of Erika and Charlie Kirk, and they're saying, there's something weird going on. I've even seen some conspiracy theories going around because her behavior is quote unquote not how it should be, considering her husband was just assassinated 2 weeks ago. I've said this before regarding grief and bereavement, especially an immediate loss, such as losing a spouse, losing a child. You don't know how you're going to react and behave until you're in that situation. My little boy Garrett was killed in an accident when he was 3 years old. At the time of his death, I was the pianist for the children's group in our church. We buried him on a Friday, and that Sunday, 2 days after the funeral, I had my butt back on that piano bench, playing the piano, singing along with the kids as if nothing had happened. The month following his death, I was full of so much positivity and proactivity. We're going to see him again. This is just a tiny little glitch, a tiny little hiccup in our mortal experience. That's what I was telling myself. That's what I was telling my children. That's what I was showing the world. It takes quite a while for the permanence of such a terrible situation to set in. For me, the permanence of my son's death started setting in somewhere around month 5. Just think about the amount of support surrounding Erika Kirk, the amount of people lifting her up. Not only that, but she is driven by the very cause that got her husband killed. People are commenting saying her hair, her nails, her makeup are immaculately done for his memorial. A couple days before my son's funeral, we weren't really friends. We were acquaintances, but she was a hairdresser. And she sent me a text and asked me if I would like her to do my hair the morning of the funeral, give me a nice blowout, just to help me look a little bit more put together and feel better about myself. I had another friend offer to give me a manicure and pedicure. I had a couple friends offer to come over together and get my hair and makeup and everything done for the funeral. I wasn't a celebrity. My child wasn't a celebrity. My family, we weren't celebrities. It's not really an uncommon thing for people when they are just wanting to feel like they're serving you. They need some sort of an occupation to make themselves feel like they're useful, because everybody feels pretty powerless in that situation. So it's not uncommon for people to reach out and say, hey, can I help you with such and such to help you get ready for the funeral? So just imagine the amount of people that were coming forward offering to do Erika Kirk's hair, makeup, nails, etc. It's really not that weird. This is the tricky little bitch about grief and bereavement. There will come a time where the permanence of this is going to hit her. There will come a time where she feels angry. There will come a time where she feels completely beaten down by this tragedy. Now, is she necessarily going to show this publicly? Maybe not, but she's gonna go through these things. Nobody gets away from it. So maybe just back off and remember that you don't know how you would react in a situation like that until you are in the situation.
I'm hungover as shit. I'm never too hungover to fucking talk. This Erika Kirk situation is insane, and she needs to shut her mouth. I mean, when she's making this speech, they knew who the shooter was, and this bitch is fucking running her mouth and talking. I mean, I need to go find this live that now people are talking about that she did last night, and because apparently she was being crazy again. But that prepared speech that she did in Charlie's fucking podcast room with the fucking Trump magazine in the background with it was fucking weird. It was so planned and so rehearsed. I mean, obviously this woman's grieving and whatever, but you can't in that same breath be calling for fucking violence and dog whistling. Like, it came from your side. Like, it didn't come from fucking us. And also the fact that she's still trying to make him a fucking martyr. A martyr is someone who is killed for their religious beliefs. Charlie was fucking killed doing what Charlie fucking does. He was on a college campus talking about red pill fucking talking points. His last words were about fucking gun violence. Okay? It wasn't about Jesus. It wasn't about the Bible. It wasn't about religion. He wasn't killed for preaching the gospel. Okay? He's not a fucking martyr. It's wild. I literally can't. It's very fucking Handmaid's Tale. I didn't like it. And also, if this man was a fucking live, you wouldn't even be allowed to be speaking on that fucking video. He would expect you to be in the house with your mouth closed, being, a stay-at-home mom. So it's just all fucking weird. I don't like it. Also, where are his parents? Where's his family? Where's her family? It's all fucking weird, and it's strange to me. It's strange. And then all the HBCUs are put on fucking lockdown, and this woman could have done something, and yet she chose to use words like, oh, well, Charlie, if you were a fan of Charlie, you know what he would want you to do now, and all this stuff. And then also fucking plugging Turning Point. Ma'am, you were grieving, and you have the audacity to fucking market Turning Point? That's so fucking weird to me. I don't know. And I don't care if it gets shit. I'm speaking so real right now. I don't care. All of this is so fucking weird, and I don't get it. And listen, I fucking hated Charlie. Okay? But everything that's happening now after this has been fucking weird. Insane. And it just once again goes back to right-wing extremism. Because again, wasn't fucking left-wing. Wasn't us. It's never us. And notice how we aren't making jokes about this. Notice how we haven't been making memes and tweets and all of this stuff. Like y'all have done. To Nancy Pelosi's husband, to Melissa Horton, to fucking anybody on our side that had been at the hand of political violence. Or police violence. Because y'all fucking made a joke of George Floyd still to this day. But we're giving y'all grace in class. But y'all want to come for us. It's crazy. It's crazy. Lastly, these photos that she's posting on Instagram, holding the corpse hand and stuff, Again, why are we doing this? Why are you having people take pictures and videos of you to post on your fucking Instagram page? Go grieve. Ma'am, go grieve. Go be with your daughters and grieve. Because you need to fucking come to terms with what the fuck you said to your daughter, because that's gonna fuck her up. Don't even get me started on that. Like, I don't know. Like I said, it's all fucking weird. It's all showboat. I don't like it. It's weird. And again, I hated Charlie, and this is great. Like, this is just insane to me. This is, I mean, yeah, ma'am, go grieve, please, and stop with this marketing, whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So you see all the different opinions and everything. And look, it's going to be interesting to see what direction she takes it in. And what that one person in here that said it's a bunch of Jewish people there now. Yeah. After Charlie died, she brought in a lot of Jews. And Charlie didn't have all them Jews there, she got them there. Like I said, and plus, I don't think Turning Point is gonna last. I think she's gonna keep it alive for a little while, but I don't know, I just have this feeling it is just not gonna be around too much longer. I don't believe she's gonna be able to keep it alive. You know? I don't think she'll be able to. Because really, the main attraction about Turning Point USA was Charlie. And now that he's gone, people aren't gonna come and see Erica like they did Charlie. It is just not gonna happen. Mhm. So, y'all, it is going to be interesting to see who she puts out there for college campuses. Now, I know they sent out Megyn Kelly, and it didn't go well at all. I don't think she's the one to go out there at all. She's so unlikable. How does anybody go to a college campus to see her? I don't think that's gonna work. And there's no way Candace is coming back in that role because her and Charlie had parted ways. I think it was, like, back in 2023. It's when it was a little bit before the Daily Wire where everything fell apart for Candace, and I think it was because of her position that she took on the Jews. That's what kinda split her and Charlie, you know? And if you notice, Candace has really backed off on talking about Black people now. She has really been going hard after the Jewish people. So, I gotta go over there and look. I know they had demonetized her. I don't know if she ever got it back, but her YouTube channel got demonetized, I think over a year ago. And I haven't heard about her getting it back at all. But I don't think Candace is going. Come on, they're not going to let Candace be the face of Turning Point USA. You know, when she was out there, she was always out there with Charlie. You know, and I don't see her going back at all. I don't think they want her back. And I don't know why, but I get the feeling that Erica does not care for Candace. I could be wrong, but I don't think she cares for Candace at all. Mhm. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. So anyway, we'll see. We'll see what kind of faces she put out there because there's a lot of wannabes that are cropping up. and they are itching to to take their butts to HBCUs. But you know what? I think our people are at the point we're not having that mess. Not anymore. Charlie got away with it, and that's because he primarily went over to the PWIs. And so he got in front of crowds that wanted to hear that. See, if you say anything derogatory about us, people want to see that. That's why he kept the audience that he did. Now, I think, aren't we a week away from his day of remembrance? Because next Monday is Columbus Day, and we don't do we definitely don't do no Columbus Day. And I think the following day, the 14th, is the Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day, Day of Remembrance. That's the 14th. But I heard he shares the same birthday with George Floyd. So I mean, who in our community is going to pay attention to a Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day of Remembrance? I mean, come on, he was nothing to us. So I don't know why we would acknowledge. But then again, the raccoons will probably acknowledge him. But I don't see anybody other than them from our community really acknowledging Charlie Kirk on some day of remembrance. Mhm. No, that's not Columbus Day. That's Aboriginal Day. Aboriginal Day, not Columbus Day. Mhm. Yeah, and see, backup trick 44, that's exactly right. I'm not honoring a white supremacist. I don't know why people keep saying he died for political views. No, he wasn't saying anything political. He was speaking racism. That's not a political view. He was not trying to achieve anything like Dr. Martin Luther King. He was, out there trying to achieve equal rights for our people, civil rights. So, based on what he did, the works he did, that's why the Civil Rights Act passed. Now, that was a political reason. But what Charlie Kirk did, that's not political. He didn't hurl first of all, he was not out there over any political causes. And number two, all he was doing was going from one campus to another, talking disparagingly about us. How is that political? I don't see how I don't see how he died of political reasons. But that's what they are trying to say. Now, don't be surprised if somewhere along the line they tried to even erase what he really stood for when he was alive. Don't be surprised they'll act like, oh no, he didn't go around saying that. That's not true. He died for political reasons. No, he didn't die for no political reason. He was not trying to get a bill passed or trying to get people to back something that he was trying to do politically. He was not even in political office. So I don't see how he was political. No, I'm just not feeling it. Mhm. So we'll see what happens if this chatter will just die down about his wife, or will it become something else, which I don't believe. I don't believe they're going to do anything to her, no matter how suspicious she may be looking right now. I don't think they're going to do nothing to her. And we know why they're not going to do anything to her. They're not going to do anything at all. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. I do have an upcoming live stream. Donald Trump is now admitting that he does know what Project 2025 is. If you remember, on the campaign trail, he denied knowing anything about it. I know why he did that, because he knew if he showed any signs of interest in Project 2025, he would never have won the election. And if you remember, Kamala had accused him of backing Project 2025. So what they're saying is, I think 1/3 of what they plan to do is already done from Project 2025. And during the lockdown, Donald Trump intends on doing more behind the scenes during the shutdown on Project 2025. He's working behind the scenes, but he's not denying it now. He's admitting he is all for Project 2025. He knows what it is and they've been implementing it. So there you go. So, I mean, are you really shocked that a 34 convicted felon lied to everybody during his campaign? Because I heard Black conservatives even saying the same thing. Oh, he doesn't know anything about Project 2025. Oh, yeah, the Black conservatives were on one back when, when the campaigns were still going on. Oh, they jumped right on the Trump bandwagon defending him. He doesn't know anything about that. Donald Trump, he's not going to do Project 20. He doesn't even know about it. Donald Trump knew about that mess all along. He knew all along. So you're going to see people reaction to that. And yes, if you don't want to see white people reaction to a white man, then don't come back. That's all I can tell you. I don't know why you expecting to see a bunch of Black people on a subject matter like Charlie Kirk. That's baffling to me. Our people wasn't around Charlie Kirk like that. There were some, but we weren't overwhelmingly around Charlie Kirk. The main ones around him were white people. The main ones involved in Project 2025 are white people. We ain't heavily involved. In fact, I don't see nobody from our community involved with Project 2025. So y'all, that will be at 3:45. So hopefully I will see you then. There are two people I need to thank. EW49, thank you so much for the super sticker and your support from my channel. And Ozzy Edwards, it's obvious she was the brains behind Charlie, which is just isn't saying much. Yeah. I mean, she was there with him and she did, several podcasts with him too. So I don't know. I'm not feeling her because if Charlie felt that way about us, I just know she does too. She does too. So Turning Point USA, don't expect any real changes. It's going to be status quo, but the kind of people that are up there, that's going to be a lot different. That's going to be very different. So y'all, have a wonderful afternoon, and some of you, I will see you in about an hour. Shalom, family.